On the coldest Christmas Eve the town had seen in years, single father Daniel Hayes hurried along the snow-dusted sidewalk, clutching the last-minute gifts he had bought for his 8-year-old daughter, Lily, after losing his wife 2 winters ago. Christmas had become a delicate season filled with memories sharp enough to wound, but soft enough to warm him just the same. He was determined to make it special for Lily, even if his own heart still carried cracks that had not closed. As he crossed the town square, the glow of the Christmas tree reflecting off the frozen fountain, he almost didn't notice the small figure huddled at the base of the steps. Wrapped in rags too thin for December, the girl looked no older than 15. Her hair clung to her face in tangled strands, her arms wrapped tightly around herself as if she were trying to hold her life in place before it scattered into the wind. Daniel felt a familiar tug, the same instinct he had felt the day Lily was born, when he realized he would always move toward anyone in need. He approached slowly, placing his coat over her trembling shoulders. "Are you all right?" he asked, voice soft but steady. The girl looked up, eyes wide, dark, and startlingly calm for someone shivering in the cold. "I'm fine," she whispered, though her body shook as though each breath was a battle. "I just needed a place to stay for a moment." Daniel sensed the truth she didn't say. She had nowhere to go, no one waiting, no warmth to claim. Snow drifted like powdered silver around them as the church bells began their Christmas Eve chime. He knew he couldn't leave her there. That was something his late wife, Emma, would never have allowed. He introduced himself, offering his hand, and she hesitated before taking it, her fingers thin and cold. "My name is Arya," she said. The name fit her, fragile but musical, like a note carried by the wind. Daniel led her home through the glowing streets, explaining to Lily that Arya just needed a warm Christmas meal and a safe night. Lily accepted her with the open-hearted trust only children possess, immediately grabbing Arya's hand and pulling her toward the decorated living room with excitement. As the night unfolded, Daniel couldn't shake the feeling that Arya's arrival was no accident. There was something deeper in her eyes, pain, perhaps, but also something bright, something unspoken. And as midnight approached, Daniel looked at her sitting quietly beside the crackling fireplace, the lights of the Christmas tree reflecting in her eyes like tiny stars. And he felt something he hadn't felt in a long time, the faint stir of hope. He didn't know yet that Arya's story would change everything. He didn't know that this mysterious girl in rags would turn out to be the miracle he had been waiting for, but fate did, and it had just begun unfolding. Christmas morning dawned with golden light breaking through frost-kissed windows, and Daniel found Arya already awake, sitting at the kitchen table with a cup of warm cocoa Lily had given her. She seemed different in the daylight, less like a shadow drifting through the cold, and more like someone fighting her way back into the world. But Daniel also noticed how she flinched when he closed a cupboard too quickly, how she stared at the food before eating as if unsure she was allowed to have it, how she carefully folded the blanket she had slept with, as though afraid she might break it. He wanted to ask about her past, but something in her trembling silence told him that pushing too soon would make her retreat. So instead he cooked breakfast, filled the house with the scent of cinnamon and vanilla, and let the warmth do the talking. Lily adored Arya instantly, insisting she sit beside her during presents, showing her ornaments she had painted, even declaring Arya could help place the star on top of the tree next year. Next year, the words hit Arya so unexpectedly that she froze, the wrapping paper falling from her hands. Daniel saw it happen. He gently guided her aside, his voice soft. "Arya, you're safe here. No one is rushing you. You can stay as long as you need." That was all it took. The wall inside her cracked, and the truth spilled out in tremors and tears. She told him about losing her mother, about a father who walked away, about months of wandering through shelters, doing small jobs, trying to survive without being noticed, believing she was a burden to anyone who offered kindness. She had stopped believing in miracles long ago until the moment Daniel covered her with his coat. Daniel listened without interruption, feeling the weight of her words like stones landing in his heart. When she finished, he told her the truth he had never spoken aloud, that after losing his wife, he had prayed not for happiness, but for purpose, for a sign that life could still hold meaning beyond grief. "Arya," he said, voice thick with emotion, "I thought I was helping you last night. But you're the one who gave me hope again. You're the miracle I didn't know I was waiting for." Arya cried, then not from fear, but from finally belonging somewhere. Lily wrapped her small arms around her waist, anchoring her to a home she never expected to find. And in that moment, something shifted in the Hayes household. Not quite a family yet, but the beginning of one, a bond formed not by blood, but by the kind of love people spend lifetimes searching for. That Christmas became the first of many, each warmer than the last. And though Arya arrived in rags, she grew into a life stitched with love, trust, and healing. Daniel never again questioned whether miracles existed. One had shown up on his doorstep in the snow. The weeks following Christmas passed like pages of a new beginning, each day stitching Arya more firmly into the rhythm of life inside the Hayes home, though she still moved with a quiet gentleness, as though afraid her presence might shatter the delicate balance she'd found. Daniel noticed how she always woke early to help with breakfast, how she double-checked that Lily's backpack was zipped before school, how she folded laundry with careful precision, as if proving she was worth the roof over her head. But what Daniel also saw, what Arya could not, was that the house felt fuller, brighter, more alive with her in it. One snowy afternoon, Daniel picked Lily up from school while Arya stayed behind to tidy the living room, humming softly, a sound so rare from her that Daniel paused at the doorway when he returned, stunned by the warmth it brought. Yet despite the growing bond, Arya's past still cast long shadows. One evening, after Lily had gone to bed, there was a loud knock at the door that made Arya's breath freeze in her chest. Daniel answered to find a social worker who had finally traced Arya's missing person file. Arya immediately withdrew into herself, convinced she was about to be taken away, sent somewhere cold, unfamiliar, maybe even back to the streets. But the truth was far gentler. The social worker explained that because Arya was still a minor, someone had to be responsible for her legally. Before Daniel could speak, Arya whispered, "I'll go. I don't want to cause any trouble." The words pierced Daniel deeper than he expected. He stepped forward, placing a steady hand on her shoulder. "You're not trouble. You're family." The social worker looked between them, surprised but not unmoved, and explained that if Daniel truly wanted to keep Arya with them, he could apply for temporary guardianship until she turned 18. Daniel didn't hesitate. He agreed before the sentence had even fully left her mouth. Arya stared at him, stunned, tears forming but not falling, as if she didn't believe her ears. When the social worker left, paperwork in hand, the house fell into a gentle, trembling silence. "Why would you do that?" Arya finally asked, her voice barely a breath. Daniel knelt so they were eye to eye, the soft glow of the fireplace painting warmth across his face. "Because your life matters," he said. "Because you deserve a home. And because you gave me back something I thought I had lost forever, hope." Arya broke then, not in sorrow, but in the kind of relief that melts years of fear. She sobbed into Daniel's chest while he held her with the steady reassurance of someone who refused to let her slip away. Later, Lily woke briefly and padded into the living room, her sleepy voice carrying a child's simple truth. "Daddy, Arya, are we a family now?" Arya looked at Daniel, searching for the answer she was afraid to claim. Daniel nodded, emotion thick in his throat. "Yes, sweetheart, we are." And as snow fell softly outside their warm little home, Arya realized she had not just been rescued, she had been chosen. And sometimes, she thought, that is the greatest miracle of all. If you enjoyed this script and want more powerful emotional stories, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share it with others who love heartfelt storytelling.